everyone, I'm Justine. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey tonight on resilience. So there was a definition that was mentioned at the beginning of that bio, but what do you see as resilience? Don't all answer at once.
Like bouncing back from some difficulty?
Bouncing back from difficulties, yes, that's right. And it's the speed that you bounce back. So I'm going to talk about some coping mechanisms tonight, and we're going to talk about some health and well-being in regards to resilience. So my journey on resilience actually started when I was little. I was born in Geelong to my parents, obviously, Marion and Norman, and then 10 months and 3 weeks later my brother was born. Now, I didn't walk until I was 18 months of age because I figured that was the only way that they were going to give me some attention was when they had to pick me up and carry me. So I built resilience from a very, very young age. Now, when I was around about 3.5, my mum had breast cancer. So she was 27 and we went off to live with my grandparents. That was the first of 3 times that I was fortunate enough to stay with them. Then when I was around about 9, my mum was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and again went back to live with my grandparents, and my parents had divorced by that stage. Then when I was around about 17, I suppose it would have been, Mum got cervical cancer and my grandma came up to live with us for a period of time. So each time that happened and I was taken away from my parents, I started to build resilience. So they were all adversities that I was facing and had different coping mechanisms. Now, one of my coping mechanisms to start with was not healthy, and that was eating lots and lots of food. I peaked at 125 kilos in my 20s because I'd used food as a coping mechanism with the adversities that I was facing, and I wasn't building much resilience at all from that. But we'll talk about more of that in a moment. Then at the age of, I was about 26 years of age when my mum got lung cancer. I had a 7-week-old baby and my mum passed away. So that was, although there were lots of other little adversities along the way, that was a major adversity for me to actually face. So I had a 4-year-old, a 7-week-old, and my mum was no longer here. And I hit rock bottom. There was no further down at that stage that I could have been. So I was 125 kilos. I was in a marriage that I didn't want to be in. I had a shop that financially was not supporting us and it was putting us further into debt, and something had to give. And it was a case of I had to make some decisions in life, and some tough decisions at the time, and bring it all back in and start looking after me. So if you don't look after yourself with self-care, everyone else suffers. And it's not about being selfish, though it might sound like it. What are some things that you could do for self-care? Don't all rush me on answers here. Grace?
I like to exercise.
Exercising? Yeah. Go for a walk. Exercise is really important for self-care. Yep. A cup of tea and a book. I like your style. I'm allergic to caffeine, but I like your style. What do you like to read?
Anything.
Anything?
Lots of, romance and tragedy books.
Okay. We'll talk about some books at the end. I might have an interest for you there. What else can you do for self-care?
Shopping.
Shopping! You're a girl after my own heart. I love to shop. Yes, so shopping, that can be self-care. What else?
Going to bed early.
Going to bed early, making sure that you get enough sleep. That's right. What else? Eating properly. That should be your number one thing, and then sleep.
Drinking water.
Drinking water, yeah. Don't consume so much alcohol. I must pay attention to that one. Reducing your alcohol intake. What else? What are some other things for self-care? What about socialising with your friends? I see that as self-care. Do you? Yeah. What about travelling? Ticking things off your bucket list. They're all self-care. What about having a hobby? Who's got a hobby? Yeah, what's your hobby?
Painting.
Painting. Ooh. What's your hobby?
Music, playing music instruments.
What do you play? So I wanted to be a classical composer and conductor when I left high school, and I studied music and then went off to uni and did it for about 9 months, and then my mum got ill with the MS and I had to, I was going back to it, I was always going back to it, and I never did. So I wrote my first symphony at 15 years of age. I've still got it, one day I'll hear it. And an adversity got in the way, so I had to modify and adapt my life according to it. So now I'm an artist, just a different type of artist than what I originally thought. But yes, music is definitely self-care. What else? Deb, have you got any suggestions?
Even as simple as like performing domestic duties, just to keep in that routine.
Routines are a number one up there as well. When you have everything that we've just mentioned in place, the hobbies, cups of tea, reading a book, painting, music, walking, exercise, all of that together helps you cope with an adversity. Keeping in a routine regularly helps you with building resilience. Who makes their bed every single morning? I'm impressed, 2/3 of the room. Why do you think it's important to make your bed? Now I sound like a mum, don't I?
It's one thing ticked off that you've done that day that you can say, I did that.
That's right, Grace. In my case, sometimes it might be the only thing that gets ticked off. And no matter how bad I'm feeling physically, I will get out of bed, I will make that bed. All right, so I just pull up the sheet, throw over the doona and put the pillow there, but that's still making the bed, isn't it? And I've accomplished something. I might go back during the day and lay on it and have a bit of a snooze, but I never get back in the bed. So there's a really good video that you can search on YouTube about making your bed and why it's important. It brings routine, a sense of pride, you've accomplished something throughout the day, and that builds resilience as well. And you wouldn't think so, but all of this combined of what we've spoken about helps build resilience in adversities that you face, and you will face them. You cannot get through life without facing an adversity, and some of you probably already have faced quite a lot in your young years, and I say young years because I think I'm 3 times the age of you guys in the room. No, Deb, we won't. So like I said, my resilience started with my mum, and then what I learnt as a younger child, gaining that resilience through her health journeys. When I then faced my health journey, I was 2 weeks past 40 when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I'd spent my whole life, so from 9 years of age to 40, being told that I'd never get it, that it wasn't hereditary. Well, it's not, but if there's a genetic predisposition, if all the environmental factors are in place, well, then you can get it. And I guess I won the lottery, it was just the wrong lottery. And then when I had to stop work, so I've done so many different jobs in my life. People are always saying to me, is there anything you haven't done? And I'm like, no, I don't know. Because I'll pull out something and say, oh yeah, I did that in such and such. Deb can vouch for that. I'll always say something. She goes, what? Another thing. So, you know, I've done multi-level marketing businesses. I've owned my own shop. I've run for Parliament twice. As in the bio said, you know, I'm now an Amazon best-selling author. I'm an artist. And things have just rolled from one thing to another. But when my kids were young and I became a single parent, it was a matter of survival for me. And I lived in a small country town with hardly any jobs, any full-time jobs. And how do you support 2 young children? Well, you just change your badge. So I had 4 casual jobs. And I would, in one day, travel 200 kilometres, and in that 200 kilometres, I would be just changing my badges as I went from one job to the next. And I made a full-time income out of it and brought up the 2 kids by myself. So when you face an adversity, look at how you can modify your life. Just because something's done that way doesn't mean that it can't be done a different way. Right? And be open to change and be open to modifying whatever you're doing. And that will help you bounce back a little bit quicker from the adversity that you're facing. Does that make sense? Yeah? Haven't lost anyone there? No? So, yeah, look at modifying what you can do. So, and look at still doing your self-care. So keeping in your routines, making your bed every day, washing your clothes, washing yourself, because that's really important. Eating good, clean food. You know that saying, we are what we eat? That is so true. If you fill your body with junk food, and hey, I love Macca's like the next person, but I know now if I eat McDonald's, I am sick for a couple of days and what it does to my system. But if you're eating junk food all the time, or rubbish food, or high sugar foods, you won't know what it feels like to feel good, because you're eating crap and your cells are then getting nourished with crap. But you go and start eating some fruit and some veggies and some lean meat and drinking your water, don't you feel better? Yeah. Who's been away on a holiday and you've eaten takeaway food the whole time that you've been away? Yeah? Lots of us have. Are you craving for a feed of veggies and meat when you're coming home? Yes. Home cooked meals? Yes. Yeah. So you identify then that you know what your body's feeling like with eating sugar foods or junk foods or crappy foods against what it feels like when you eat good food. Yeah, cool. So I got diagnosed in 2011 with MS and was told I'd never work again. Now, I've gone from working so many different jobs, having more than one job at a time, to them saying, oh, well, you're never going to work again, Grace. How do you reckon you'd feel? Crap? Yeah. Yeah, I have another word from that, but I can't say it in public. But yes, crap, we'll go with crap. My world crashed. I plummeted down in a very deep, dark hole. And I believe what the medical profession said. I'm never going to work again. He did say one thing to me. He said, you better find a hobby. I went, oh, well, I've always wanted to learn how to paint. So it took me 4 months to walk through an art studio door, and my girlfriend actually owned that studio. But my anxiety was so bad, and the adversities that I was facing, and I'm a very social person. I'm a little bit of a social butterfly. And I went from being that to being scared and alone. My house felt like it was my sanctuary, but it also felt like it was becoming my jail. And I was stuck there. And so to get inside the door of that art studio was a massive, massive thing for me. And I'd drive there every week and I'd sit outside and I'm like, no, can't go in. Cannot go in. And then I'd start crying and then I'd drive home. And I did that for about 3 to 4 months. Drive there every week, sat outside, wouldn't walk inside. Then one day I got really angry at myself and went, what the hell are you doing with your life? It's just a painting studio. What can go wrong? So anyway, I walked inside. Got greeted by Karen, who owned the studio. She sat me down and I did my first art lesson. She goes, oh, you don't need much help. I'm like, what? She goes, you don't need much help. She said, oh, you've taken to this like a duck to water. I'm like, oh my God, I've just sat outside for the last 4 months. What was I doing? What was I thinking? So I started to paint. And that became my happy place. Do you all have a happy place? Something that makes you happy, calm, cups of tea, reading a book, listening to music, playing music, something that makes you happy, watching comedy on TV. It's important to have something in your life that makes you happy. So when you are facing that adversity, you've got something that you can go to. All right, that'll calm you, that'll make you happy. So for me, it's painting. So if you'd said to me 11 years ago, I would be standing up here now doing public speaking again. So I was a Weight Watchers leader for 10 years and used to stand in front of crowds of, a couple of hundred people. I would have laughed at you and went, no, that's all gone, that's finished. I can't work anymore because someone told me I can't work anymore. My mum used to say to me when I was a child, there's no such word as can't. Just find a way around it. Find out how you can do it. And that's kind of stuck with me. So I started painting. All my family started getting art as presents until they went, no, we don't want any more. And then I started entering, I moved from Perth over to here and I started entering art exhibitions, and I entered the Drysdale Easter Art Show. Have you all been to that one? Have you had a look at it? You have, Sarah? Yeah, it's a big art show, that one. And I sold a piece, my first sale, to a stranger. It wasn't family there saying, oh yeah, here's some bucks, go away, we don't want any more art. But it was to a stranger. And I sold it for $300. Now that $300 to me felt like $3 million because I'd solely became reliant on another human being to put food into mine and my children's mouths and to put a roof over our head. Didn't qualify for Centrelink because he earned too much money and I'd lost my independence. So that $300 to me was worth millions. And I'm like, oh, I can still make money, I still have purpose. Because I questioned what my purpose was when I couldn't work anymore. Couldn't pay taxes anymore. How was I going to contribute to society? What was my purpose going to be? My son had just gone off to the army, so although I was still his mum, I wasn't really his mum anymore because the army was. And I had a 14-year-old daughter at home. And, she was going to leave soon enough as well. So what was my purpose going to be? So then when I started creating the art and then people started buying it, it's like, oh, so my purpose is to make other people smile. When they come and look at my artwork and the big, bright, bold animals that I do, and they smile, that gave me purpose back in life. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah. So then my body had other ideas. I was cruising along with the MS, that was all right, but then I developed heart issues. And I underwent in 2013, 14 and 15 3 heart surgeries and nearly passed away from the last one. Didn't get me, I'm still here. And so there was a lot of adversity there. Just when I thought that I was, getting on top of things, bang, my body has another idea. In that period of time, prior to just getting heart surgery, I took up Olympic weightlifting. Now, I'd always done powerlifting and all-round weightlifting, and I competed nationally in tug-of-war, and I decided to do Olympic weightlifting. So my daughter was competing in it, and I would take her and sit there for 8 hours every week, and it was getting pretty bloody boring. So it was a case of, well, all right, I'll give it a crack. So I ended up representing Australia in Olympic weightlifting as an able-bodied athlete, even though I'm officially disabled, and won some gold medals at state and national level with that as well. So remember what my mum used to say to me? There's no such word as can't. You just got to find a way around it. I've got to find a way around the adversity. In my case, my adversity most of the time is my health. And then, so that was 2013, 14 and 15, and I kept training through that, and I went off in 2016 and represented Australia at the Masters Olympic weightlifting for the Pacific Rim and Oceanias, and came second in that. And then when I was away, I started developing a skin condition called lividio reticularis, and I was going purple. My kids thought it was great. They thought that I was one of the Walking Dead a zombie from The Walking Dead. However, it was a little bit more serious than that. I then got diagnosed with melanoma when they were looking for lymphoma. This is going to sound really strange, but having lymphoma actually saved my life because I wasn't doing enough self-care in checking my skin. Now, back in the day when I was a teenager and I was at school, I don't know about you guys when you have been at school because you've got the slip, slop, slap campaign. We didn't have anything like that. We used to lather up our legs with baby oil and sit out in the sun and try and get as beetroot red as like Deb's top as we possibly could because it was not cool to be white back then. You weren't allowed to be lily white, that wasn't fashionable. You had to be as dark brown as possible, and with that came the chance of melanoma. And so they stumbled across a melanoma on my leg. I was always watching out for my back, didn't even consider the little ones that were on my leg. And I now have a 10 centimetre scar from something that wasn't much bigger than a pinhead on there. So check yourselves. And you're never too young to start checking for melanoma, because a lot of it can be prevented. So with your slip, slop, slap campaign, but also early detection, okay? And girls, your legs and arms. Guys, it's more their backs because they're allowed to walk around without tops on, so we can't. So then I got diagnosed with another condition called mixed cryoglobulinemia, and I had decreased lung capacity. I couldn't bend my fingers, couldn't bend my toes. I could not hold a paintbrush and I couldn't hold a pen. So my happy place was creating art, and I really panicked, thinking I'm not ever going to be able to create another piece of art. I then, because through social media, kept getting tagged at the same time on an artist called Iris Scott, who lived overseas, and she finger painted with oils. Have you seen her work? Oh, it's brilliant. Anyway, I thought, I wonder if I can do that with acrylic paint. So I gave it a crack, and I did. And I created this frog painting, because I love frogs, and sold it for $350. And I'm like, I can still make money. I still have some purpose. Yay. I can still go to my happy place. So for me, painting is a form of meditation. I'm not one that can sit there in the corner and go, that's not me in meditation. Might not be you either. Find something that slows your brain down, right, where you don't think about anything else in the world. Yours might be painting too, yeah, or drawing, or your music, all right, or exercise. Somewhere where you can slow your brain down and let it heal and let it restore itself, all right? It'll make it so much easier when you're facing an adversity, if you can do that, all right? So, yeah, started finger painting and producing quite a lot of work of finger painting. I then got diagnosed with chronic lymphocystic leukemia and small lymphocystic lymphoma all at the same time. So I had the melanoma, lymphoma and leukemia, and the mixed cryoglobulinemia all at the same time. Went through chemo, went through all of that, looked after myself, but I continued to weight lift through it. I continued to train. Didn't compete, but I continued to train. And still train 3 days a week. Despite what I'm facing, if I'm having a real shitty time, I still haul my butt out of bed, make my bed, get my exercise gear on, and I go to my PT at 10:30 on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday without fail. It's become a routine, it's become a way of life, and there's no excuses whatsoever for me. So exercise again has become a way of building resilience. So I'm competing this weekend in a strong person event at Strong Geelong on Saturday. Will I do any good? Probably not. It doesn't matter. The fact that this is the first time back in 6 years that I've been able to go back and compete. And I am just tickled about it. Am I scared? Yeah, a little bit. How will I do? I don't know. Will I bomb out? I don't know. Hope not. But I'll be there doing it. And that to me means more than anything. So a couple of years ago, someone said to me, how do you get through everything? How are you so positive all the time? And I'm like, I don't know. I just am. I just get out of bed every day and do what I've got to do. So I had to put some thought into it. It was about 3.5 years ago, I had to put some thought into it. And then someone else said to me, you should be teaching art. You should be showing others what you do and other disabled people. So Just Art wellness classes were born. And so now I teach 3 days a week other disabled people how to paint. I also teach on Saturdays finger painting for grown-ups. So you'll all have to come and have a go. One of my star pupils is in the room. Deb loves finger painting, don't you, Deb?
So it's the most, what Jessie said, you get absorbed in what you're doing, so the brain turns off from all the other stuff that's usually in the background. And it just, I said to Jessie, I can't even draw a straight line in what came to art classes to make a fool of myself. And all 4 of the ones that I've done so far are on my walls.
And they're brilliant. They're absolutely amazing. They're brilliant. I will not let you walk out of the studio unless it's brilliant that you can hang on the wall. So if you hop on Just Art Instagram or Just Art Facebook, you'll see Deb's pictures up on there because we like to showcase our artists that are coming through. Yeah, I do. She doesn't, but I do. I like to showcase them, and I've got business cards down the front here, so feel free to grab one of those, and you can like and follow me on socials. So then Just Art was happening. I've got a gallery in Drysdale at Cafe Zoo, so my artwork is permanently on display down there for sale, and I do lots of commission work for people. And then, it was like, well, how are you so positive? You know, what are you doing? I've been an MS ambassador for the last 8-9 years, so talking in front of crowds again, so I've been back up doing this for quite some time. And then I went, well, I don't know. And then when I sat down and worked it out, resilience mindset was born. So I've become a resilience consultant, or known as the Queen of Resilience, because of absolutely everything that I've faced. And I haven't even shared a lot of it with you tonight. There's far more. You can read about it in the books. And I then developed the 10 Top Tips in Resilience, which is a downloadable pack that you can get, and it goes through all about self-care, hobbies, some of the things that we've spoken about tonight, and helping other people. So keynote speaking, coming along to groups like you guys, but then into big corporate as well. So then that wasn't quite enough for me. I decided that I was going to write a book, and Deb and I have been doing writing classes for a while now, and I've co-authored in the last 6 months 3 books, and 2 of those have hit Amazon as bestsellers. And I'm in the process of writing a book at the moment, all on resilience, and I've developed the 8 Ps to resilience. So that'll be out by the end of the year. Last year I broke my arm, which then was another adversity, but still managed to paint. And I've illustrated and written my first children's book all about equality, and submitted it off to 31 different publishers. Out of the 31 publishers, I got 5 contracts back. Guess how many of those 5 contracts I said yes to? That's right, 0, none. Because they wouldn't do what I wanted to do and what my vision and what my dreams are. All right, do you all have goals? Yeah, are they big enough? Because quite often they're not. So you've got to have short-term, medium-term and long-term goals. But then also be pliable enough that if adversity gets in your way, remember the no such word as can't, modify yourself around it to reach that goal. You might have to tweak the goal and what it is. So I had the think tank. I went off to the loo for a minute, and Susie, my PR girl, was sitting there, and we were talking about if I was going to say yes or no to these contracts. And I've come back and I went, I'm going to start a publishing company. She's like, what? You're only gone for a minute. That's all it takes for a good idea. It's just 1 minute. Then you just got to follow through with it. So then Morpheus Publishing is registered, and my first book is coming out in the next couple of months through Morpheus, which is called Same, Same But Different. The first picture is a giraffe and a sausage dog. So the sausage dog is my sausage dog, Pansy. So, self-care, she's my little thing. And so she features throughout the book, and the first one, she's looking up at the giraffe, and the giraffe's looking down, and it goes, you have long legs, I have short legs, we are the same. Why? Because you know how little kids go, why? Because we both had legs. Yes, but we are different. Yes, but we are the same. So, and every page, it's like you have hair on your skin, I have scales on my skin. Or you hop to move, I run to move. You breathe underwater, I breathe above water. So that's the theme through the whole book. And then it's like, we are all equal, we all care and love each other. in the book. So that's been, a bucket moment for me to tick that one off as well. And then Morpheus Publishing's coming out. We'll bring that out this year, and then I'm hoping to have my 8 Ps of Resilience out by the end of the year as well. So, you got to have big goals. You got to have big dreams. Dreams become reality when you set a goal. Right? And never, ever, ever let anyone else's false belief tell you that you can't do it. Because no one knows what's going on here except for you. If you believe that you can go and do it, go and do it. Right? If someone says to you, you can't do that, why would you want to do that? Well, because I want to, and because I can, and because I will. Right? People at the moment are telling me, you've got to slow down. I've had COVID. Anyone else had COVID here? Yeah, I know, it's a bit like, we don't want to admit it, do we? I'm on a couple of dating sites at the moment, and they've got there that if you've had COVID or if you're vaxxed and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, modern society. So yes, I've had COVID and I've got long COVID. So I'm absolutely stuffed most of the time. My fatigue levels are back to where they were 12 years ago. So I've got to modify, I've got to adapt. The goals are still there. It's just, okay, well, what do I need to do? How do I need to modify myself in order to achieve those goals? All right. You can understand that since you've had COVID. I know. So I will achieve the goals. But people keep saying to me, do you really think you should be doing that? I'm going to give you the mum talk. Someone gives me the mum talk. I'm like, it's fine. I know what I'm doing. Because no one knows your body better than what you do yourself. Occasionally I like to push it to the limit and I end up in hospital. It's like, oh yeah, all right, next time I'll slow down a little bit more. But again, no one knows what's going on in your head better than what you do. So awards, has anyone entered an award? Yep, what have you entered? Wow, how'd you go?
I am 1 hour, I think I'm 1 hour finishing gold and then I'm done.
Congratulations, that's exceptional. Anyone else? No? You're just at the start of your journey. You'll win some awards. Yeah, I've got a bucket full at home of tug-of-war medals and weightlifting trophies and now business trophies. So last year, like my bio said, I entered or was nominated for 16, 17 awards. And out of that, I won 5 in one organisation, 1 in another, and I won the City of Greater Geelong Achievement Award for Disabilities. And that's for everyone that's disabled. That wasn't just for me, that's for everyone. So I know I've got some friends that are unable to do certain things and they live their life through me, and so that award's for them as well. And that sense of achievement, that sense of pride, that helps you through the adversity that you're facing next. Would you agree? Yeah? So, has anyone got any questions? Yes.
So you obviously live a very busy life with many things to do with goals. How do you keep yourself accountable, making sure that you've done everything you do?
Funny you mentioned that. Did you pop in for that question? No. I'm impressed. I have what's called the trusted system. Now I like rose gold, can you tell? So this is an old-fashioned planner, okay? Something that you guys have probably never seen. Back in the day it was called Filofax. Yeah. Has anyone heard of a Filofax? They mention them occasionally in old movies. Filofax is just a brand name, okay? So it's a planner. Now, this is my trusted system. Oh, there's a tissue in there too, because you never know when you're going to need a tissue. I used to use my calendar online, so which would sync up to my phone and everything else. Until one day I had a system update and I lost the lot. Oh yeah, it was bad. Now you can imagine the amount of medical appointments that I have. Just to give you an indication, in the next couple of weeks I've got an MRI on the 26th, I've got a neurologist appointment on the 28th, and then I've got my cancer specialist on the 2nd. Unfortunately my cancers are back. due to the vaccine and having COVID. So the lymphoma and the leukemia are back. What does cancer look like? Looks like this at the moment. I'm on a wait and watch. It won't be until my levels rise back up that they'll actually put me through chemo again. So again, I'll have to adapt and modify, but you know, I've got everything in place and it won't slow me down too much at all. Will it, Deb? Just checking. Okay, so let me give you, that was yesterday. So everything gets written in here on what I'm doing. Trying to find a good day for you. There you go, there's a good day. All right. There's a really good thing that Mel Robbins brought out, a book. It's also a YouTube video. So if you haven't got 13 hours to read the book or listen to an audio book, hop on to Mel Robbins on YouTube and listen to the 5-second rule. Okay. Now what the 5-second rule is, you know when you drop something on the floor, piece of food, did you have that when you were growing up? It's like 5-second rule, the germs don't get it if it's under 5 seconds. You action something in under 5 seconds. So if you have a brilliant idea, and I'm sure you guys have all had brilliant ideas, brilliant ideas, then action it. Now, actioning can be as simple as just writing it in your planner, writing it in the notes section on your phone. Don't lose that idea. You've actioned on it. Then go through and then action later in taking it to the next stage. All right? Everything gets written in my planner. In the back of the planner, it is in all different sections for resilience mindset, for Van Gogh decals. Oh, Van Gogh decals. My artwork is on large decals that go on caravans and camper vans and cars, wherever you want to put them. So it was looking at how can I expand my artwork, especially when COVID happened and all the galleries closed down. So that's a new one that's coming out, is Van Gogh decals. But yeah, the trusted system, you can use one online, but paperback. Because if you've got a blackout, all right, and your computer dies or your phone dies, how do you know where you're supposed to be? All right, old-fashioned. Works that you've got your phone. And look, your phone's all right if you're out and about and you're taking notes. I, however, bought myself a beautiful handbag, any excuse to buy shopping, and buy a handbag to go with it. Not that I bought it tonight, it all went in the Jacuba bag, with the books. So did that answer your... Yeah, trusted system, set it up, put the calendar in it. I found that I had to buy, one day is just the appointments, on the other page is my to-do list. So my A list and my B list gets on there, and then every night I transfer across to the next day of what needs to be done. And you can set it up with so many different sections and so many different things. Your exercise might go in there. Make an appointment to yourself when you're going to exercise. So my training's written in there at 10:30 on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And if someone says to me, oh, can I have a meeting with you at 11 o'clock on Wednesday? No, sorry, I have an appointment. They don't need to know that I'm at the gym. I will not change those appointments for anyone because that's my self-care. All right? Because you won't get back and do the exercise later in the day if you put it off. So if you want to go for a walk every day, if that's your goal, write it in your planner. All right, and that's your commitment back to yourself, and that you're going to actually do it. And then that becomes a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, a long-term goal. And if you're like me, when I've achieved so many of those goals, I go and buy some clothes. Why? Because I can, and I'm rewarding myself nearly every day, but that's beside the point. Okay, so the last thing I just want to touch on quickly is the books. I thought I'd bring them along. So this is the first one that I co-authored, and this is an Amazon bestseller in quite a few different categories, and it's called Release the Shackles. And this one's about my cancer journey in here. Then this one came out in March, and it's Courage and Confidence. And it's got, I briefly touch on 5 of the P's in resilience. But there's some amazing, inspiring stories in both these books. They are. So this one's got, I think there's 25 of us in this one, and this one's got about 17 different people in it. And then this one isn't out yet, but do you want to have a look? Sneak peek. So this one is a Business in Heels book by Raw, and I got the privilege of illustrating the front cover. So I'm more happy about the front cover than the words that are in this one. Is that bad? Yeah. I've got the original artwork for this, and I'm definitely keeping that and getting it framed. So that one comes out, it's launched on the 1st of May, and it will be available on my website as well. So does anyone have any questions? Yes?
Talk a lot about having goals. I just wanted to ask, where do your goals come from? Like, how do you come up with your goals?
Okay, so I'm very materialistic, I'll be the first to say that. I have a vision board, and I teach people how to do vision boards, how to manifest things into their lives. That's just another part of the resilience consulting. Make a list of things that you want in life and how you're going to achieve it. So what are some of the things that you want in your life? Work out? Yep, so a good job. Would that be one thing? Yep. Money to travel?
Less important,
but still on there? Yeah. What about a new musical instrument?
maybe one day.
One day? Yep. So never discount anything like that. All right? Put it out to the universe. All right? I want this to happen to me. I want this. I always wanted a house cleaner and a gardener. And then I thought I will have made it in life by having both of those. In my working life, I want a house cleaner, I want someone to do my ironing for me because I hate ironing, and I want someone to do my gardening. I got all of those, but unfortunately I became disabled in order to get all those. So NDIS pays for my house cleaner, my gardener and my ironing. So you've got to be really specific when you put things out to the universe. All right, don't do what I did. Be really, really, really specific on what you're putting out there. Sit down and think, where do I want to be living in 5 years' time? What do I want in the next 5 years? All right, don't think about 20 years' time. Think about 12 months. Where do you want to be in 12 months? How much money do you want to be earning a year in the next 12 months? All right. In my case, it's okay, well, where do I want my business to be in the next 12 months? What's my turnover where I want it to be in the next 12 months? All right. Does that kind of answer? Your goals will be specific to you and no one else. And when you're doing them, specific is a good word, and smart. So make sure that they are small, measurable, attainable, realistic, and they're timely in doing them. All right? And reward yourself. All right? If you reach a goal, reward yourself. We know she's going to go shopping. You're going to have your cup of tea and a book under a tree, so it doesn't have to cost much money to reward yourself when you reach your goals. All right? Any other questions?
Don't be concerned about what your goal is and that other people will think that you're silly or whatever. Your goal is you happy in your life, and it will be very different to everybody else's. And that's cool, because that makes you who you are. It's nobody else's business, but what do you want for you? And that's quite often, particularly for girls, one of the hardest things, and I'm talking about older girls as well, it's one of the hardest things to sit down and articulate and say, what do I really, really want for me? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to do? Guys can do it much more easily. As a gross generalisation, guys can do it much more easily than women can. But theirs is usually only business focused. They leave out all the personal stuff, or most of it. Whereas girls try and marry the children. I can't do that because it'll affect my children or doing whatever. It doesn't matter. What do you want? What would be optimal? If you could wave your magic wand, that's what your goals are.
Yep. And then you sit down and go, okay, how am I going to achieve them? What do I need to do? Break down each goal. What do I need to do in order to achieve that? Does it mean that if I sit watching TV all day, is that going to achieve my goal? No, it's not. So you actually have to then put some work into it. And that's where people like me come along and help people, because that's an adversity that you're facing, and I help you through that in building the resilience and the coping mechanisms and the direction of what you need to do, and give you people to link up with and all of that. So that's a little bit about resilience consulting as well. Anyone else got any questions?
I have
Yes.
a question. How do you control your depression or overeating stuff? Like,
Yep.
if you're going through that.
It's a goal. Nothing tastes as good as goal weight feels. So think of that one.
Yeah.
All right. So in total, I lost around about 46, 47 kilos. I've never put it all back on because I changed my lifestyle.
No, it's like, if you're going out with your friend, but then back of your mind, you're still thinking, what if I eat this?
I eat it.
You are going to get weight.
I eat it. All right, but I'll order a smaller portion of it and I'll exercise more. All right, never beat yourself up, because then you will put on that weight. Because then that goes, oh, well, I've blown it now, I might as well just keep eating until Monday, because somehow when you're trying to lose weight, Monday is the magic day, and it's not. You get back on track the very next meal, drink water, reduce your calories, exercise more. It's all about what you put in to what you put out, but don't beat yourself up about it. All right? I had at home for a very long time on the front fridge 79 kilos in the front of the fridge, because that was what I wanted to get to, 79 kilos. And I got down to 79 kilos. We're sitting on about 83 at the moment, but we won't go there. Next question.
How did you start a publishing company?
I just started it.
How did you do that?
I signed up for a course on how to become an Amazon, Kindle and Audible publisher, and it cost me about $2,500 to do that. And there was like 90 something videos in the course to do, and that's how I started. Is that something you want to do, Sarah?
I don't know.
Don't know. So for me, it's always I say yes and then work out how to do it. And that's everything. It's like, oh yeah, I can do that. Right, the University of YouTube is really, really good. You guys are in the best age to be alive. Back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, we used to have to go to the library and look up things in an encyclopedia that was out of date. Not anymore. So yeah, I signed up to an online course and did it through that. It will be a success, because I have no doubt I don't do things by half. Any other questions? No. You're all so quiet. Well, thank you very much for allowing me to come and talk to you all today. My cards are here, like I said, and if you have any further questions, feel free just to inbox me and I'll answer them for you. Okay, not a problem whatsoever. Come along, do a finger painting class with Deb. She's quite often there. I think you've done 4.
Group 1.
Yeah.
Justine can do 6 without blinking, and you'll do up to 10.
No, I can get 18 in the house now
Right.
for that.
So
So,
go as a group. It's so much fun.
Yep.
If you go on the Friday night or the Saturday afternoon when you can't go to line and do it.
I haven't got them running at the moment, Deb. We've only got Saturday mornings, but I've got a couple of positions left at the end of this month, and May is all booked out. I'm going away. May is all booked out, and then June we start back up again. And it'll all be, and it all depends on numbers as well. So if you all booked at once on a Friday, I can do a Friday night if you're the president. Yep. So if you want to organise it and say, oh look, can you do a Friday night, or can you do a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon? We can pick a date and I can put you in. Okay, that's not a problem whatsoever. And I do, when someone books a big group like that, I do a discount. So normally it's $70 a session, all included in materials, but I do a bulk discount for people to come in. So, any other questions?
Do you sort of favour guys, seriously, I don't normally sell stuff, but have a look at Justine's books, and
Yep.
because there's a lot of information in there with all due respect, not just Justine's
No, but everyone in
the
the...
other authors as well.
Yeah.
There's some fascinating stories in there.
Yeah, there are. Truly inspirational. And I hate that word, but truly inspirational. I'd rather be known as motivational than inspirational, because motivational, you actually get up and do something and change your lives. So anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure talking in front of you today. Thanks, Deb, for asking me to come. And I'm sure I will see you all in the future around Geelong making headways.